Welcome, guys. So I wanted to hop on here and share a quick on the 3 key skills you're going to need to learn to attract your husband. And this applies regardless of your situation. Like if you've never dated, if you've been previously married, if you're a single mom, if you're in a situationship, it doesn't matter. These are the 3 key skills that translate regardless of whatever situation you find yourself in. And these are the key skills that I focus with all my clients on achieving, that has helped them to attract their husbands, get into healthy relationships, get asked on dates consistently, attract the quality of men that they want. So I'm going to share with you guys how those skills look like. And if you want to work with me to attract your husband in 2024, to start going on quality dates, to start actually experiencing instead of expecting quality men to come into your life, if you want to start living out the experience, feel free to click in the link in my bio to apply to work with me. I will get back to you within 24 hours. So the first skill you need to learn is coming into contact with men. That's it. You need to learn how to come into contact with men. So basically, how can you meet men? How can you create opportunities where you're constantly coming into contact with men, whether it's socially, online, offline, through networking events? What are ways in which you can easily, reliably, consistently make contact with men? Because guess what? You need to meet men to meet your husband. I mean, it's just common sense. You want to get married, so you need to meet men. To meet your husband, you need to meet men. To know your husband, you need to be having connections and talking to men, having conversations with men, coming into contact with them. And this is a key skill that I show all my clients how to do. It's just about finding what's the most convenient way for you to meet men. Now, if you're not meeting men at all, that right there is a major reason why you haven't met your husband. Because obviously your husband is a man. So if you're not meeting men at all, that right there is a major reason why you haven't met your husband. And what I do with my clients is show them how to meet men. For some of my clients, they've met their husbands at work. They've met their partners at an event. Some clients of mine have met their husbands online. Some have met them through the course of their work and their business. It really doesn't matter. You just want to find a way that is easy for you to come into consistent contact with men. And what I do with my clients is help them to navigate exactly what works for them in a very natural way. You don't want to do anything that feels forced, that feels majorly uncomfortable. You don't want to do anything that feels like it is completely out of your comfort zone to the point where it doesn't make any sense for you to do it. I like to find a sweet spot with clients where you're coming into contact with men, you're comfortable, but you're also outside your comfort zone, so that you create opportunities to have interesting conversations and interactions with men. You're meeting all sorts of men, on a consistent basis. Doesn't have to be every day, but you're creating opportunities to have quality, emphasis on quality connections and, coming into contact with men. So that's the first skill. And that's what I show my clients how to do, to be able to meet their husbands, meet their partners, and be able to start going on quality dates. Now, the second skill you want to learn is connecting with men. Okay, when I say connecting here, I'm not talking about linking up like I was explaining when I said coming into consistent contact with men. I'm talking about learning how to navigate conversations with men productively on a substantial scale. Now, if you know that men ghost on you, it never gets past the first, second date, you're having an issue when it comes to reciprocation in terms of interest. If you know that your relationships tend to, kind of dive down very quickly at some point in time, maybe the 2-month mark. If you know that you struggle to know how to have conversations with men where you maintain interest, it's because you don't know how to connect with men. So this is the second skill that I show my clients how to do in Dating to Marry. I literally provide a template for them to be able to know exactly how to have conversations with men, and it has changed the way they're able to connect. They're able to discern the level of interest they get from potential partners that are providing them with the quality experience that they desire from a partner. It's in your conversations. It's in the way you communicate. It's in the way you connect. And how you really want to do this is learning, another skill that is tied to this is learning how to vet and qualify men correctly. So if you are having conversations with men, you are getting the communication right, but it turns out that he wasn't who you expected, or you find that he has some habits that you cannot ignore, and it turns out that you were deceived in some way, shape, or form, it's because you didn't know how to vet and qualify men correctly. So when I say vet and qualify, I used to sing this before. I haven't mentioned it in a while, but it's a key skill that I show all my clients how to do. Vetting simply means that you're learning to filter based on your standards. Qualifying means you're learning to use that filter to ensure that those standards are maintained substantially. So for instance, a standard could be he's a Christian. You qualify that by getting to know him and seeing the fruit of the Spirit, so to speak. But the thing is, if you are coming into contact with men and they're telling you, a lot of them are representing what they are not, it is because you are not correctly vetting and qualifying. You're not going through the right process to know exactly what you should be looking out for, so that you don't waste your time. You don't get emotionally prematurely attached. You don't feel like you are taken advantage of in some way, shape, or form. It's definitely something to do with the way you're vetting and qualifying men. So what I show my clients how to do is really understand how to use conversations and communicate in a way that allows them to vet and qualify men with the goal of making sure that they are connecting with the right men. And the more they do this, the faster, the easier, the simpler it becomes for them to attract the quality of men that they desire. I'll give you an example of how that translates with another analogy. So imagine you own an organization, you're hiring for a role. The job description you put out is what you're using to vet, because there are certain skill sets that they need to have. There are certain certifications, degrees they need to have. That is your standard, so to speak. So that's what you're putting out to vet. Now, whoever fills those standards and applications is who you have interviews with. That's how you qualify. Now, the more you do that, the better you're going to get at hiring for that position, the better you're going to get at knowing the right fit for your organization. It's the same way, literally just walking my clients through how they can put their standards. And the reason you don't know how to vet is because you don't know how to identify your standards correctly. You don't know what your standards are, and you don't know how they look like. So I show my clients exactly that, what their standards are, how they look like, how to be able to recognize it without having to be lied to or be taken advantage of, how they can easily recognize the standards that they want in a partner, right? So when they know how to do that, it changes the way they interact with men, because they know exactly what they're looking for. They know what they're looking for. So they know, and when you know what you're looking for, it comes with a level of confidence in your approach. And that translates to the quality of men they attract, which also translates to the quality of men that they're qualifying as potential partners. I've literally had a client reach out to me saying, I have 3 men that I am very interested in, and I'm not particularly sure which one to commit to. Which is a good problem, because it means that whoever you choose is a good choice. And this is what I always say, that you have the power to choose, which leads me to the third skill, the key skill, learning to choose, learning how to commit. Now, the problem here with that I've seen through the process of coaching is you either prematurely commit, you get lost in, you think you're in a committed relationship, or you commit to the wrong person. So when you prematurely commit, it's usually because you didn't vet and qualify correctly, which means that there was a problem in the way you connected with that person, and you weren't able to recognize the problem before you committed, so you prematurely committed. It could also translate into the way you get emotionally involved and invested, how this person starts taking up space in your time, your energy, your emotions. It could translate in a variety of ways. It's not just about like being his girlfriend. It's also in terms of how this person is playing a role in your life. Yeah, I just wanted to fix that. That is how it's translating, okay? And then here's the thing. If you are now in a process where that's what happens when you prematurely commit. So if you commit to the wrong person, how this looks like is you feel stuck, okay? You feel stuck. You start feeling like you start struggling with settling. It may devolve into a situationship. It starts to become a question of did I make the right choice? There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of question marks in that situation. Now, if you wait too long to commit, then the inevitable happens in the sense of it becomes a situation where you feel like you're being taken advantage of. There's a lot of confusion. It becomes like a pseudo relationship, like a situationship basically. So you need to learn to choose, and you need to learn to choose before you make a choice. Okay. So a lot of you are choosing without knowing you have options. That's the problem. And it's because you're not coming into contact with enough men. So you feel like you don't even have the power of choice. Or it's because you're not connecting with men correctly. So you don't even know what you're choosing. You think you're choosing one thing and it turns out to be another. And this has, for some couples, this has even translated into they didn't know they made the wrong choice till they got married. I've seen it multiple times in the course of my work. Some women enter marriages, they didn't know that this is the person they were marrying because they didn't know that they were making the wrong choice. So it's really important that you know how to choose, okay? And I always say this to my clients, right? The process of dating to marry is to make sure that you get into the right marriage. We're not trying to rush you down the altar here. We're not trying to, get you hooked up to some man that is going to make you regret the day that you said I do. We're trying to get you to a point where you have healthy options in men that you are going on dates with. You're exploring your options from a position of confidence, and you're understanding who you have been called to be as a wife and how that translates into who you choose as a husband. And this is why putting my clients through this process has helped them to attract their spouses. I was talking to a past client yesterday. She settled down. She's literally, she's settled down. She's a mother. She's a wife. She's expecting her second born. And it was just interesting to see her progress in the sense of where she started, which was from a point of she wasn't even sure that this was a reality that was available to her. Why? Because of her issue was the way she was connecting with men. That was it. Once we cleaned that up, she attracted her husband, she settled down, she got married. So if you're struggling with, finding quality men, attracting quality men, you do not know why you haven't been able to connect with a man that you can confidently say, this is someone I can marry. It's one of these 3 skills or more that you're struggling with. Let me know which one. I'm actually curious. Let me know in the comments which skill that you're struggling with. Is it that you're not coming into contact with enough men? In other words, you're not meeting men on the regular, you're not talking to men on a routine basis. And that in itself is a skill, okay? It's a skill. So learning how to come into contact with men, and I don't mean you're just seeing men. I mean coming into, literally contact, like proximity with men, like where you can have conversations, where you can meet them, where you can learn about each other. That is really important for you to know how to navigate your femininity in a way that allows you to attract a masculine man that pursues you intentionally. Okay, you're not meeting men on a regular, I'm seeing someone say coming into contact with enough men. Great, so now that you've recognized the problem, all you need to do is create opportunity and avenues that allow you to change this around. So what I do with my clients is I make sure that I really understand what their routine looks like, what their schedule looks like, their natural characteristics, personality, and we translate that into a very simple way for them to come into contact with men. It doesn't matter whether it's online, offline, socially, networking, whatever. I just look at their routine, their habits, their character, and we create a very simple way for them to come into contact. Because if you are not coming into contact with men, I guarantee that you're not going to be connecting with men, and it's going to be difficult for you to choose the right man to commit to. Again, like I said, it's always one of the 3. It's either you're not coming, at least one anyway, it's either you're not coming into contact with enough men, or you're not connecting with men in a way that's substantial and benefits you. In other words, you're not vetting and qualifying men correctly, or you're not committing to the men the right way. You don't know how to choose. And this is exactly what I show my clients how to do. I show them how to do all 3 so that they know, because here's the thing. Whatever you're struggling with is the reason you are where you are in your journey. So if you're not coming into contact with enough men, that's why you're not going on dates. Because you're not coming into contact with enough men. You just need to increase the number of men you're coming into contact with to be able to create opportunity for dates to come your way. If you're going on dates, but it's not translating, someone said talking stage without boundaries. basically, yes, if you're in that situation where you're just talking, it's not going on dates, it's not translating into anything substantial, it's very, the guy keeps avoiding commitment in terms of let's go on a date, he doesn't want to spend intentional time with you, he kind of comes and goes, it's because you're not connecting with men correctly. That's where you need to do the work. That's what needs to shift. Now, if you find yourself in situationships, your relationships never mature into marital commitment, you find that you're always struggling with the partners you choose, you constantly doubt your choice, you feel like you chose the wrong person, anything to do with choice, it's because you don't know how to commit. Okay? That's why that's happening. So when you come into contact with men on a consistent routine basis, and by consistent, I don't mean it has to be every single day. I mean, there's a cadence to it. Like, you can literally, I have a template that I help my clients to know exactly their cadence for attracting men into their lives, so that we can work on that and create opportunities for them to increase it and use it to their advantage. Okay, everyone has a cadence, right? So when you're not coming into contact with enough men, that's going to translate into how you're connecting with men, which is going to translate into how you choose. And unfortunately, a lot of women have entered marriages because of that trajectory. They weren't coming into contact with enough men, they didn't connect with enough men, so they made a choice based on no options that they perceived they did not have. And as a result, entered a marriage that was not meant for them. And this is why you usually see where you guys get pressured, like, oh, I'm getting older, I'm a single mom, I'm divorced. It's because you're not coming into contact with enough men, you're not connecting with men, and as a result, you do not have options when it comes to choosing the kind of man you want to commit to. So you see how all of this is connected? This is why, like, through my program's structure, we start from the beginning. We create opportunities for you to come into contact with men so that it's easy for you to know how to connect with men in a way that is natural and feminine to you. And you can use that to vet and qualify men correctly so that you're choosing the right partner. You know you have options, so you're making a healthy choice and you are committing to the right person for you. And this is exactly how I've helped my clients to step into marriage. This is how I've helped them to enter healthy relationships and to start going on quality dates consistently. Okay, that's how I do it. So that's what I wanted to share today. If you have any questions, let me know that are relevant to what I just shared. I want to make sure that you guys really get what I said. Let me know if you have any questions. But really, it's that simple. Dating isn't hard. It's like really simple. It's just a vehicle to get you into the marriage that God has called you to. It's not complicated, it's not difficult, it's not confusing. If you're experiencing any complications, if you're confused, it's because of the way you are approaching dating. It's because you're not using it in the way it is meant to be used. Okay, it's like trying to use a fork to dry clothes. It's not gonna happen. So the reason why you're experiencing difficulties in dating is just because you're not using dating the right way. So that's what you really want to work on. It's either you work on coming into contact with more men, connecting with men correctly. But usually I see that it's not just one issue, it's at least two. So usually from the work I do, I'm just working with clients and talking to you guys through the application process of dating to marry. You guys usually tend to have two issues. It's either that you're not coming into contact with enough men, and so as a result, you're not connecting with men correctly, or you're connecting with men, but you're not vetting and qualifying them correctly, and as a result, you're not committing to men the right way, and you're not sure of the options you have when it comes to choosing a partner. Is online dating a good idea? Online dating, there's nothing wrong with online dating. Just like everything else, it just depends on how you use it. I personally show my clients how to date online. Every single one of my clients knows exactly how to approach online dating. I've had clients that have met their spouses online. I've had clients that have gone on quality dates through men that they have met online, and also men that they have met offline. So there's nothing wrong with online dating. It's just, again, about the way you use it. And it's important to understand how you can create opportunities to meet that criteria in men that you come in contact with. Like if you say, for instance, I'll give you a random example, that you want somebody that is financially stable, works in corporate, serves the Lord. You need to at least meet two of those three things you're saying, because obviously like attracts like, iron sharpens iron. So the only way you're going to be able to recognize that is if you carry those qualities. But what I see is you guys carry those qualities, but you do not know how to recognize it because you're not familiar with how it looks like in day-to-day interaction, which is why I always put my clients in a position where they're coming into contact with men so they can experience the reality of what it looks like to actually see the kind of person they think they want to marry and see if that actually translates into how they are experiencing, connecting with that person. So this was fun, guys. I will talk to you again soon. If you want to work with me one-on-one, feel free to apply through the link in bio for my Dating to Marry program, and I will go through your application and let you know the best next steps for you to take to change your dating. And this is for you if you're a woman that is tired of repeating the same stressful situation, why you would want to continue it. But if you're tired of that cycle and you're ready to actually see a shift in the way you're attracting men, you're ready to actually experience dating healthily, then Dating to Marry is for you. Click the link in bio to apply. I'll review your application and let you know the next steps. I will talk to you again soon. Make sure you share this with a sister friend. Bye.